live with me, sort of like chatty catch-up video, and I had just this message really strongly on my heart as we are so close to baby Lace entering this world. And yesterday was actually my mom's birthday. Yesterday was my mom's birthday. We had a new moon in Virgo. And I really just wanted to just sit down and have a little bestie catch up. And I know that a lot of you guys have shared that either you had similar childhoods or you also struggle with, relationships with your parents. And I just kind of wanted to share from my heart about really entering motherhood without having my mom. And not only entering motherhood without my mom, but having kind of like a traumatic childhood. And I know that so often it's super common when you have like not such a great childhood, when you have parents who are divorced, when you come from, in my situation, I came from addicts, and it causes a lot of people to not want to have children. It causes a lot of people to rethink what they want for their lives. And yesterday I really was just reflecting on how much love I really do have for my mom as a person. And the most healing thing that I ever did for, this mother wound and this like relationship with my mom was I took her off a pedestal. I no longer needed the validation of other people saying, yes, you were right. Yes, what she did was wrong. And I wanted to talk about that because I think that serves all of us in so many levels and so many lessons in this lifetime of, for not only like a mother wound or a father wound or inner child healing or, really any of the shadow work at all. It really comes down to not needing other people to validate your experience, to validate your heart space, to validate where you're at in order for you to move forward. And, in my situation, I have a parent who is still alive, and we just do not communicate, do not talk really. And even with that, I have done the healing work with my father on my own. And that's knowing that this person is still around. Oh,
welcome to Nevada.
Thank you so much. I received that. Welcome. And then with my mom on the other spectrum, I had to do kind of that healing work and really look at that relationship and look at those lessons where I couldn't talk to her. And with, my dad, of course, it's from a different side of the spectrum of can't talk to them and things like that. And I spoke about this in another video, actually another Drive With Me video, where I'll link it down below, where, my dad, I have nothing but love for him, but it comes from a place of I had to choose, not even indifference, but I had to really know that like how I felt was okay, and how I felt was okay knowing that, the version of me that was 15, 16, a child who had to show up for herself, like the same energy that I had and I carried of knowing that even if nobody sees it, even if nobody agrees with me, I know that this is how I feel. I know that something is not right. But it's up to me if I want to linger in these feelings and linger in this almost like grudge and hatred. And I had to choose not to. And that really set me up, I feel and know and honor that like that set me up to kind of know that I don't need other people to validate my experience to feel valid in how I feel. And that doesn't mean that one person has to be right or wrong. And I think that that's what it really comes down to. And so having this more chaotic and tumultuous relationship with my mom when I was younger, where she was an addict and she struggled with her mental health, and knowing that that wasn't personal, knowing that that is not about me, that, even in the roughest spouts of her addiction, when she would be in the hospital and she would say things like she tried to kill herself because she hated me so much, like I remember I was in like 5th grade, and I remember people telling me like, oh, that's just your mother's addiction talking, or oh, she doesn't mean that. And I almost took away the meaning of all of it, in the sense of whether she meant it or not, I still can love her. And I think a lot of us want to find blame and fault in people, in situations, in scenarios, and knowing that we get to choose us, and we get to show up for loving our parents as individuals. And you know that saying where it's like, oh, we were just doing the best we can. And you know, someone can be doing the best that they can, and you can still feel that that wasn't enough. And that's something that I've experienced a lot with my parents and my family, of just, you know, was it enough? Were they doing their best? Who knows? So it really comes down to this piece of me that loved my mom and loved the experience that she gave me enough to know that this cop is like riding my tush. Why, sir? Why? Does that seem nice? Does that seem friendly? You gonna ride my tush the whole time? Sorry. But knowing, get on with your bad self, sir. You know what? Turn them lights on. Turn them lights on. People get out of your way much faster. Does that scare anyone else? You're like, oh, y'all, don't be riding the po-po's tush. Don't do it. Don't be interested in what he's doing. Godspeed. But also, this like row of cars, we all thought we were getting pulled over. We all thought it was us. But really entering motherhood and knowing that, you know, the saying, they did the best they could. I can give credit where credit is due. And I mean, I survived. I'm here. I'm very, I think it might surprise a lot of people that I am very grateful for my childhood, in the sense of it gave me a lot of compassion for people, and it gave me a deeper understanding of mental health, and it also gave me, that was a very interesting person to pull over. Okay, I'm just seeing what he's up to now, you know what I mean? Like, now that we're far back enough, I'm just like, what's up? What are we doing? But you know, really looking at having this new level of understanding of, we really are creating our own choices, and it really is up to us of what we want to do. And having this foundation of really this deeper understanding of, I don't need anyone else to validate my experience and validate where my heart is at. And I think that that is something that kind of our generation struggles with, of, I don't know, I see a lot of people wanting to call other people toxic, or that they're manipulating, and there's gaslighting and all these things. And it's like, all of these things can be very true, but then it's up to us of how are we going to let these people, one, in our experience, and two, are we going to continuously let them affect our experience? Because I am someone who, I was super manipulated by my family when I first left. I believed them that everything was fine and I was overreacting. And then I talked to other people about my experience, or I'm finally honest with maybe some of my friends from like high school about what it was really like, or even, you know, having people that I was friends with in high school share with me about how they even knew that how I was treated and things like that were not okay. Hearing these things from strangers, because like when you're a child, it's kind of like it's all you know, right? So I'm getting off on a tangent a little bit, but pointing out that sometimes the most healing thing that you can do for yourself, and the most healing thing that I had to do for myself and my future daughter and this whole experience, really was knowing that it's up to me if the same cycles and the same patterns are going to continue. It is truly up to me if I want to continue feeling that, oh, I'm quote unquote not chosen, or feeling that I have a hard time with other women, or to feel, oh my God, to feel like, what the fuck is going on? Listen, we got like 6 cop cars. Okay, another one. They do a lot of drug trafficking on this highway, but that's none of my business. That's none of my business. So, really asking myself of, do I want to continue this pattern? What do I want the story to be? And knowing too that nobody can do the healing for me. And sometimes, not even sometimes, all the time, the most healing thing that we can do for these stories and these wounds and these patterns is just kind of starting to show up differently, and knowing that that story does not need to keep repeating itself, and knowing that it's already happened, and what was I meant to take away from this, and loving ourselves enough to look at like where we are choosing these same sort of vibrations, and where we're choosing these same type of connections again and again, and what that manifests and how that looks like, what that manifests like and how that looks is I can fall into this like savior role for like my female friendships. Like I very much can become friends with people who it becomes very like codependent, and I had to end a couple of friendships who it was just not good. And growing up around addicts and people who couldn't control themselves around certain substances, like I do think addiction is a disease, which I think is hard for a lot of people to understand, because like of course none of us pick up a drink, or none of us pick up any sort of habit really thinking that it'll ever be an issue stopping, right? And so I've had a lot of, I guess we could say, inner work and healing the past maybe 2 or 3 years around that, around not needing to be friends with people who need to be healed and have these things going on with them. And when I stopped letting people be in this codependent place, and I was standing up for myself more, of just like, we can't keep choosing the same thing again and again. Their illnesses, no matter how it was manifesting, like sometimes that would lead them to have an issue with me. And I think that that is okay. I think that that is okay. And to love these people enough to know that like I'm just enabling them at the end of the day, whether, it be an addiction or some sort of controlling disorder, and to know that I love these people and I will never say one bad thing about them. And I think that that's always been interesting too, this narrative that I'm a bad friend and I have a hard time keeping friends. 333. I didn't know if I wanted to share this, but I have a really hard time with that, because I know that I am a good friend, and I know that a lot of situations have seemed abrupt or seemed like they ended out of nowhere, and I don't really speak on those things. I don't really speak on any friendships that I have that have ended, and that's more out of like love and respect for them, of like I still love these people, I love the friendships that we had, but I also know that like not every friendship that I had was like super healthy, and me always just like being at someone's beck and call, or just always wanting to like fix things for them, like is not actually helping them, and that's not actually me being a good friend. Me being a good friend is not enabling them. So I think that's honestly one of the harder parts of like the quote unquote mother wound, right? Of really this idea and this energy of, oh sir, you're okay. Sorry, they didn't honk at me, they honked at that truck. And yeah, I just that was something super important to me also, to kind of like heal and honor before my daughter came, of knowing that a lot of the time I am the friend, and my friends do tell me this, that because people know that I have it together a lot, like I am not the checked up on friend, and a lot of the time it's me doing the checking in on people, and it can be kind of exhausting to like be that person, right? And kind of being like the go-to person for other people has, the older I get, it's just like the more draining it is. And I think that that is because I no longer feel the need to have validation in like being needed, where when I was younger it was like, okay, like see, like all these people want to hang out with me, all these people care, like all these people, like they want my advice, they care what I'm doing, they want to have me around, like they feel lit up from me, or they, you know, care about what I have to say. And it's just, the older I get in my life, the more I realize like that's just such a leak of my energy, because these same sort of people, if I'm going through something, it's kind of like not their top priority, which it shouldn't be, of course, but it's more just like at the end of the day, I can have people always asking me for my advice, or, you know, wanting my support, and then I can reach out to people and feel like I barely get a response or hear back. So, you know, really just checking in and making sure that like friendships and connections are, I don't like the term like an equal exchange, because I think that during phases and chapters in your life, there's going to be times where, the same way in like romantic partnerships, where sometimes there's going to be moments where someone else has to hold more weight than the other, whether that be you're just going through something, or, you know, X, Y, and Z. There's always a bunch of scenarios. And so that's just kind of what I've been sitting with the end of my pregnancy, and knowing too that that's okay. I think that sometimes we face these moments of feeling like we're alone, but really it's like those are the chapters where your foundation of self and your like this desire that we feel for other people, it's like this message coming through of like, it's almost not even needing other people, it's almost needing, again, the validation in our own experience and how we're feeling. And especially as women, we're always wanting to, like, our way of processing and communicating and moving through emotion and energy is verbally a lot of the time. So instead of, you know, needing other people to validate, you know, an experience, an emotion, a feeling, a healing, a void, it's knowing that your feelings are enough on their own. Your feelings are enough on their own. For example, somebody could watch this video and effing hate it, think everything I said was wrong, and like, I still honor that. Like, I still honor you. Like, we do not have to agree on anything, because my life is not focused around like someone being right and someone being wrong and trying to be right about everything, because all I am focused on doing is showing up and sharing my heart and sharing from my heart. And there just happens to be a lot of people who connect with it. So if you don't connect with it, I still love you and you're still valid in how you feel. But it comes down to this place of like not needing to try and cut someone down or tell them why they're wrong or prove to them why they're wrong, in order to feel like valid in how you're feeling. So these are things that I've been thinking about. And I know and I own and I honor that, you know, the inner child work that I have done simply has been to know that I love my mother for exactly who she is, and an addict is not all that my mother was, and somebody who was severely mentally ill is not all that my mother was. But even taking these parts of her and loving those also, because I think a lot of the time with the healing and the shadow work and things like that, a lot of people think that these are the parts of them that make them unlovable, or these are the parts that we are needing to work on. And it's almost like these are just the parts that need to be owned. These are the parts that need to be seen and knowing that honoring her, sometimes looking at the whole version of her, not just her in her good moments, or not just her as an addict, and knowing that I love her for all that she is, and knowing that that is the energy and the intention that I want to pass to my daughter, of like, you can love people for all that they are. You don't need to fix people. It's not your job to fix people. And also, like, you get to hold space for people and still honor your own boundaries. So I love you guys so much. We are about to go to TJ Maxx to really F up some new fall items. I'm really hoping my water does not break in the produce aisle. We're getting so close. Should I be, driving nearly an hour to Trader Joe's by myself? No. But what my doctor doesn't know won't hurt her. You know what I mean? Oh my God, we said bumpy. I also wanted to go to Marshall's to, maybe like I don't need fall decor, but I definitely need a new side table. That's a most definite thing. Okay. I love you all so much. I hope you connected with this in some way. And if anything, we just got to hang out and you got to maybe feel less alone for a little bit. So I love you deeply. And I will see you in our next video. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram, because we got daily updates going on over there, and on TikTok. The TikTok.